It is Sunday night. It is time for Sunday Night Prime Time and the Skip Barber 2K World Cup presented by DES Simulation. Round number 8 of the championship will see drivers head themselves over to Zolder circuit. And our coverage here on Racesport TV and on iRacing Live will start after these messages. What a weekend's worth of racing it has been, with, of course, one of the most thrilling races in the history of the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series. Yesterday, we've had Super Trucks, we've had Saturday night, Dirt Night, and of course, now we've got ourselves this. Round number 8 of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup presented by DES Simulation here on Racesport TV and on iRacing Live. Paul Vincent along with Jake Sperry. Qualifying is about to get itself underway, and well, Jake, this is the track that we like to talk about. One thing and one thing only: curb cutting.
Oh, curb cutting is pretty much going to be off of the menu here this evening, shall I say, Will, because this circuit is one of the most perilous when it comes to corner cutting. It is one of those circuits where you need to be absolutely pinpoint accurate. I like to describe this place as a street circuit in a track setting. It almost doesn't fit its nature, but what Zolder does better than any other circuit is that you have to respect this place. There's no chance in these Skip Barbers that you can cut across a corner and get away with it, especially at the corner which Chris Malcolm is coming to, and that's this lovely little chicane.
Yeah, want to give a shout out to Isman Balau, TrackCams22.com, Andreas Werner and One Design for overlay design. Animation done by Simon Grossman and Aptioneer.in. Nick Dixon for Racesport TV, live timing and scoring, and of course also the DES Simulation, the official title sponsor of the 2K World Cup. So that is the scene that has been set for us. Qualifying is underway as we speak. As ever, drivers 2 laps, go as fast as you can. Don't go off track, otherwise your lap won't count. And it's one of the shorter tracks that we're going to go into here, Jake. Say 2.4 miles, just a shade under 2.5, and a lot of time on throttle as well.
Yeah, a lot of time on the throttle. It's a very stop-start nature of circuit, especially in the second half of the lap when you head through the Tuleman complex and onwards to the likes of the Boulderberg hairpin. But when you have that opening section through the first corner into Observatory Bend, Canal and Lucian Bianchi, you know, it's got a flowing rhythm to it to begin with, which is almost a false sense of security for the stop-start nature, with a lot of overtaking opportunity if you can get yourself close enough.
Yeah, indeed, as we're on board right now with the driver of Felipe Burr, as he's working himself right now towards the end of his first lap. We've got a lot of drivers for this one again, so consider the ideas of things like a safety car down at the first chicane. It is not outside the realms of possibility. The lap time is going to come in on the left-hand side of your screen any moment now. As out will come the driver of Felipe Burr out of the Jackie Ick chicane, and he will do a lap time as he crosses the line.
I think he's starting a lap, Will.
Yeah, starting lap. Come on, it's been a busy weekend, Jake.
Yeah, I'll give you that one, Will. It has been a very busy weekend, and I will say congratulations to you on the fact that you are now an engaged man. So we will probably lay a grave at some stage, and here rest the hopes and dreams of us getting to be friendly with you.
Yes, as Rob Adams were on board of each years. Rob Adams right now, he's working himself out of Lucian Bianchi corner. Run down, he's actually not, he's working himself down into one of the chicanes around this racetrack. No, he's not. He's into turn number 8. Now, he comes into Jock-and-Wink's corner. I think I've only ever seen one person crash at Jock-and-Wink corner, turn number 9. But it's not a corner where you can just, you know, blindly take it. You've still got to turn that car around a bit.
You have to slightly move it, Will. It's very easy to get too complacent with Jock-and-Rindt, and I think that's what I like. The fact that Jock-and-Rindt is a corner which, if you're still side by side afterwards, you may be in trouble, as Borja Zazo, the championship leader, gets himself a very good lap time, 1:43.872. That, of course, a 3-point lead, Will, with the 3 drop weeks already applied. Drivers looking to start their second laps here. Only 10 minutes to qualify. And here, it is so easy just to try and be that little bit more aggressive. So easy to lose half a second here or there just by attacking one corner horribly wrong.
And it is Brian Lockwood then who is leading the way now in terms of qualifying. He's got himself almost a tenth of a second gap now over Borja Zazo after the first laps was scored complete. 1:43.779 then for Brian Lockwood. Just keeping an eye out on Felipe Burr. He should be crossing the start-finish line any moment now. He does, and up to 5th.
It's okay, but Felipe Burr has been known so far this season to not have the best qualifying runs at all, so he will have to work hard in this race behind Simon Edwards, who is more commonly known as racing very well in the UK&I Monday Night Skippies, Justin Tipton, who's incredibly quick, the championship leader, and Brian Lockwood, who's suddenly finding at exactly the right time, Will, the run of form that I think he needs to in order to push himself up further forward in this one. Zazo, though, will get himself across the line first, though, compared to Brian Lockwood. He's got to find himself about a tenth of a second, Will. Not too much, then, in terms of what he needs to work for Campos Racing.
Yeah, and here comes Zazo then into the final corner. Use the inside part of the curb. Don't run on the anti-cuts. Don't push too wide then. Borja Zazo dancing towards the start-finish line. Number 104 machine as Edwards goes fastest.
Wow, I didn't expect Edwards to make that lap, and he's looking to try and make it happen. Tipton across the line. 43.1, Justin Tipton, eat your heart out. Half a second clear of anybody else. Here comes Brian Lockwood. He can only go up to second. Justin Tipton's just put a lap of the gods in.
Boom, confetti there for Justin Tipton, and he is now well clear in terms of qualifying. 4 tenths of a second faster than Brian Lockwood. Over half a second faster than Simon Edwards. Felipe Burr really running the curb then, as Johnny Guindy goes up into P number 2. So Guindy has a good run, but it's not good enough. He will have one more lap though for the driver of Johnny Guindy, and Burr up into 3rd.
Bear doing a very good job getting himself up into 3rd position. Sindri Setsource, Radicals online, sick sideways machine, the Norwegian, making the run in the 139 machine, going for the line. We'll see what Setsource has available to him. Didn't set a lap time on his first one, sets himself nothing for the second, so he's got to do it all the way from the rear of the field. Tell you someone who hasn't set a lap time so far today, Will, it's Teo Martin Esports machine of Alfredo Malo.
And he's also not even on track right now, with 3 minutes
to
go. He's not anymore.
Well, he's running out of time. I think that he may have a penalty of some sort.
Yeah, he has run out of time, so he will be starting from the rear of the field here today. A number of drivers haven't set themselves qualifying time. Sven Duras, Don Parks, Kurt Crum, Edwin Valerino, Martin Cruz, and Sindro Setsos that we're looking at now. Justin Stenny and Alfredo Mello are all not yet qualified. Tran up into P number 15.
Not bad from Tuan Tran. He may be looking for a little bit more. He is 9/10 of a second slower at the moment, and he's in that sort of mid-pack he doesn't want to be. Mick Watson, a perennial mid-pack to high-pack driver. Just Yonk, who always finds himself in and around this mix. But Viorino right now, positive sim racing colours, the traditional ones, so not necessarily the split liveries that you see from the University of Isabel I. So rounding the final two corners here in Jackie Ickx's chicane, and Viorino looking a bit tentative then as he comes to the line, almost trying to be fragile with that vehicle. It's not going to look quick. It's not. It's a 44.4. And that's P24, Will.
Yeah, not good for him at all. Let's go back to Jason Stenny. He will get past the line in time in that Team Bushwick Racing. Yeah, you look right, actually, there on that one. So he's just turning laps for the hell of it right now. He will still bring it past the Jackie Ick chicane, turn number 10. And let's just get confirmation as the number 179 machine from Bushwick Racing will go past the start-finish line. And indeed, yeah. No lap time set by him. He will be starting from the rear end of your field, along with a couple of others. Don Parks is out of laps as well, Jake.
No, he's on a lap right now here on his opening lap, so he'll run himself through the Boulderberg hairpin, then through Jochen Rindt here, this small kink right, left and right, and then the run to Jackie Ickx. He's got himself a minute, so he'll get this lap in, but he will not get another one. This is the last chance saloon then for Don Parks in the 127. The Don heads himself through Jackie Ickx, looking to get the drive off the line. He used all of his Rotax, maybe even a little bit more there as he makes that charge. He will cross the stripe. He will do a nothing. So Don Parks will start from the back of the field as well.
Yep, like a couple of other people here today then. 48 seconds remaining in qualifying. No one really of note is actually on track right now. So let's run you through then your starting grid for Sunday Night Skippies. Justin Tipton then, 143, 173, will get himself pole position ahead of Johnny Gindy in second place, Philippe Lebert in third, and Brian Lockwood rounding out your top four. P number 5, Simon Edwards and Jordi Lopez Jr., Enzo Cantor in seventh, Borges Arzo in P number 8 for this one. P number 9, Brian Dewell, P10, Francois Boulian, with Nicholas Loffman then in P number 11, Stephen Stoyles in 12. Devon Singh in 13th place, Mick Watson 14th, Tran, Joyce Jonk in P number 16, JB Masida, John Solly, Andrzej Shelbach, and then Kevin Crossway round out your top 20. Rest of the qualifying results are coming up on your screen even as we speak. And as I say, welcome to Sunday Night Skippies here, a part of Racesport TV Primetime. 37 drivers have qualified, others haven't set a qualifying time, and therefore they're starting from the rear. Don't forget, tomorrow, round out your week with Monday Night Primetime. Club UK Ireland Monday Night Skippies in support of the Calm Zone, a male mental health charity. That is on 8 p.m. GMT, 9 p.m. UK time on Easter Monday on Racesport TV and on iRacing Live. I want to say happy Easter, by the way, to almost everyone around the world, because there are some people who actually celebrate it in a week's time, as we've got ourselves drivers lining up on the starting grid then, all getting themselves ready to go racing. And it is very calm at the front of your field, but Justin Tipton, fantastic qualifying run by him, as the drivers are now all just in position, waiting for one or two drivers to get themselves onto the grid so we can go racing. And the engines get ready. They start revving them up. We've got a few more seconds and then we will be underway here from Zolder Circuit. This broadcast even is brought to you by DES Simulation, official title sponsor of the 2K World Cup. And it is all very, very quiet right now. But that is it. The drivers who are not on the grid, time spinning what a drop for them now. And let's look at the number 5 machine. Lights now are revving. Here at Zolder, we are ready to go racing. And those lights will turn green. Tipton then leading the field off. Actually a bit of a sluggish start by Tipton. Also a bit of a sluggish start by the driver, Brian Lockwood. He's lost a place early on. And you now got the number 2 machine up into 2nd place as they work themselves through. They're starting for the first time today. Into turn number 2 they come. The train is just working themselves around. The question's going to be, are they going to get somewhat close to single file before they get up to the clean chicane down at turn number 5? Out front, it is the driver Tipton leading from Barber. Fantastic start by Barber here. Lockwood down into 3rd. Simon Edwards down into 4th. Jordi Lopez Jr. rounding out your top 5. But this is where things will start to get very busy. Car off there, down at the rear part of your field. Off track, and that is Jonathan Dance, who has just gone off there, Jake.
Yeah, it is Jonathan Dance. We've got a check-up as well, and that was around Paul Malocus. I believe that was John Sully, who was incredibly slow through the Klein chicane. He has to be careful, and we've almost got 3 wide behind that as Fiorino looks to find a way through on Christian Kabanga and Hans Hoyer as they make their way to the Villeneuve chicane here, the Telemann complex, as it were, right-left, sorry, and then 2 more right-handers before setting the run up to Boulderberg. But that difference on the start, not having positions battle for the lead though, Justin Tipton gives it up to Laber as Laber now takes the race lead away at the Boulderberg hairpin.
Yeah, does it early then, does Philippe Laber, but Tipton is going to try and come back as they come down into the Jackie Ick chicane for the first time. Not able to do anything then is Tipton. So Philippe Laber, fantastic run by him, works himself up to the race lead from 3rd place on track, and a good start then for the driver of Philippe Laber, but Tipton is now in that 2nd place. Lockwood still running in 3rd. In terms of people who didn't make it past the end of the first lap, you have Jonathan Dance and Martin Cruz. We've had a couple of people who have started at the rear and had penalties. Johnny Gindi, Alfredo Mallow, and Don Parks. But everyone else throughout has had themselves a clean start to this one. Ish.
And you can definitely say ish, Will, because you've seen just how this race is all about attrition as Simon Edwards again gets a big slide through turn number 4. Wide goes Tipton at the front of the field in 2nd position. You're seeing how certain driving styles come into play. Edwards is not safe through Lucien Bianchi. I don't think he's got enough grip from those tyres yet to make it happen. That machine wheel looks very squirrely, and just like that, Jordi Lopez Jr. on the outside of Boots, the small hill, heading to Villeneuve.
You've got to be careful, Jake, through the Villeneuve chicane quite a bit because of the fact that it is the place where you really can get a slowdown penalty. We've seen it over the years in 2K World Cup. We've seen it over the years on Monday Night Skippies and others, as Mick Watson then on the inside of the driver of Devon Singh. They remain side by side on the run through Jochen Rindt and down in towards Jackie Ickx. You've got to be careful at Villeneuve, otherwise the slowdown penalty here will cost you about 10-15 positions.
It can do, especially with how tight the field is right now. Singh retains as they head through Jackie Ickx and on to start lap 3 of the event. Tuan Tran behind that, Joost Jonk, JB Master, Andres Schlebeck with Kevin Crosswhite and also Paul Malocus. Malocus making 4 positions. He had a shocking qualifying here today. He looks to go down to the inside at the first corner. He's got to run it around the outside then, does Crosswhite, but he runs incredibly wide, holds himself just about together, but there's 2 positions gone at least.
Yep, there is Crosswhite then, as we check in on him in the number 188 machine. He's got 2 drivers really close behind him, actually. One of them is looking on his outside. That is number 182 machine of Andrea Amon. And this is battling at the rear end of your top 20 here today. A big stacked field once again. We've only got 2 drivers, I take that back, with a World Championship license on them here today, which is a little bit less than what we've seen previously, as Amon and Crosswhite again going at it as they work themselves up the little dip, almost 3 wide, as they work themselves around that part of the racetrack towards Villeneuve. 1 or 2 drivers with bent front wings, and you do get a lot of bent front wings at this racetrack as well.
Yeah, you do. Because these small anti-cut curbs are there, it's so easy just to run over them ever so slightly with a wheel, and then you put yourself in a situation where that front wing can get torn up with the low front wing settings that these vehicles, these skip Barbers, like to have. That's always something that keeps in the back of your mind. You don't want to lose that 10th or 2 tenths. The train at the front of the field, though, is 11 cars at the moment, but is more rather a train of 8 and 3, as Stoyles runs very wide at the back of the 11, because Loafman and Boulian in the Orion race team machine look to try and stay with Brian Duell, and Duell, as we typically know here, Will, likes to go long on the fuel.
Yes, indeed so. So just check in on the Orion race team. HPP sponsored cars behind Mick Watson, Tran. They go side by side in towards turn number 1. And, well, not a bad start actually by Tran. Up a few places here today. Mick Watson in that treble 6 machine. Not having a bad day either. Here's a look then on the early section of this as Gindi goes fastest from the rear part of your field. The movers and shakers in this event today are after 3 and a bit laps scored complete. Not much movement inside of your top 15. Just Mick Watson, Tran up 2 places each. Jordi Lopez Jr. up 2 places as well as Philippe Labeur.
And most drivers up a few positions because of the fact that Johnny Gindi qualified in second, had a penalty from the last race where he crashed out of the lead, and then has had to start that one from pit road. I wouldn't agree with that decision, but it's the way it goes. New driver then on the train, the second pack now. They've dropped Stephen Stoyles because he's fallen back with Nicholas Loafman into Fran Castillo now. So Castillo's thinking about, can I make a charge? Well, not necessarily a charge. He's a lap down at this stage, I do believe, but enough at the moment, Will, where it's going to be worrying the likes of Loafman and Stoyles, having a vehicle a lap down, but quick enough to stay with them.
Yes, indeed. So it's one of the shorter laps around in the 2K World Cup as well, presented by DES Simulation. 19th place, we've got Paul Malokas and John Sully. They are going at it in towards Jackie Ick's corner. Nothing will change there just yet. Tipton, let's go back on board of him versus Philippe Labeur in towards turn number 1. They slow it down. Nothing really just yet.
Nothing really just yet, Will, and they're 2 teammates. They understand very well the fact that they don't need to actually go out there and battle with each other. Tipton can play gunner here in terms for Philippe Labeur, who's making that push in the championship as Mr. 2K World Cup tends to do. Brian Lockwood behind is happy to sit and save fuel, as is Jordi Lopez Jr., as is Simon Edwards, Cantor, Zazo, etc., etc. It's about how you maintain yourself in that gap. They're pushing a nice pace as well. 43.4s, 43.5s. That's not bad at all, Will. I like the fact they're pushing, and there's a big wiggle actually there through the second part of the Klein chicane there for Justin Tipton. He's got to be careful about that because that opens Lockwood the chance now into Villeneuve.
Yeah, Mick Watson again battling it out with Devon Singh for 13th place on track. That's been a close one going on all day long. Stephen Stoyles right now versus Nicholas Loafman, and this is going on for 10th place on track. Talked about this one already. They have now got themselves a 1.7 second deficit to Francois Boulian, so we are down to 9 drivers in your lead pack.
Yes, we are. So that is very crucial right now for Loafman, because if he loses that draft, and it's not as strong here as it is at other circuits, Will, you still need to be in that draft, because the moment that you lose it, you are dropping further and further and further behind, and actually getting caught up maybe by Tuan Tran, who on that last lap went a second quicker than Nicholas Loafman. So Loafman really having a lot of issues trying to stay on this one as the leading 5 make their own mini breakaway. Enzo Cantor's got to be careful here. The gap 7/10 of a second, Will. It's not a case of cooling tyres. I'm not sure that Thrustmaster Movano machine is quick enough to stay at this pace.
Yeah, we're on board right now with Enzo Cantor. Let's have a look at the lap times and do some comparison work, because lap number 3, 4 and 5, Cantor has been slower than Simon Edwards, which, considering the draft, is not a good thing, as Cantor slides it round then through turn 4, Lucien Bianchi corner, and that's going to cost him even more time as well. That's 3 tenths per second, maybe 4 now. That's been lost by Cantor in the last 3.5 laps.
Well, he's got to be careful about that. He's lucky the fact that Tipton had exactly the same thing happen. Here comes Brian Lockwood to the outside. He will try and get that run, but I'm not sure he has much of a run. The corner favours the driver on the inside. It will have to be a lunge here down at Villeneuve, but unable to make it happen into the Tilleyman complex. So that's going to mean that Brian Lockwood stays behind. But look at the run he gets through the third part of Tilleyman, fourth part of Tilleyman. Now the run to Boulderberg. He's got a really good shot here if he can just angle it to the inside. Break the stranglehold of TT Racing. No, sir, I'll stay behind. I'm not confident enough to make this move just yet.
Yeah, as they work themselves towards the end of lap number 6 here. Got a little bit of side-by-side dancing going on just at the top end of our picture. And that was Loffman, again, involving himself in the battles here. Number 160 versus 176. Stoyles versus Loffman, and Stoyles now up into P number 10.
Well, that's what Stephen Stoyles needs to do. He needs to work together now with Nicholas Lerfman. If Lerfman's not quick enough, then it's goodbye, see you later, because they've already dropped 6 seconds in the opening 6 laps. They can't afford to be dropping any further back when it comes to it. It's also worth noting, though, Will, Paul Malocas has dragged John Sully with him to the likes of Andrzej Schlebeck right now as he goes down to the inside at Observatory Bend and forces the cut-off on Andrzej Schlebeck. Schlebeck tried to turn for the corner. Oh, hello, there's a wild ERT machine that just appeared, and now John Sully's lost time because he had to check up because the door was closed.
Yep, there's Logitech G-Car Evolution Racing Team. Malocas up now into P number 17 on track. As ahead, actually, no, let's stick around here. Zing is now involved in another battle with Yus Yonk, as they've got a lot of close running going on right around him. Singh, I think, actually, might have had a slowdown penalty. He's just lost 3 places.
No, it was contact, Will, and now it's 3 wide, and look at this, Paul Malocas forced onto the grass, and it's 3 wide into Villeneuve, and there's almost contact behind as well. They all make it across. No, there is contact. Round goes the driver, I believe John Sully, who was far too aggressive into Tilleyman.
Let's get a replay, shall we? We're on board with the driver of John Sully coming down. You can see the carnage ahead. And Sully... he runs over the anti-cut curves there, and that's what we talk about. If you do that, it's not just always a case of you ending up ruining your own race, but when you do so, you lose all form of grip and traction, and it's game over that way as well.
Yeah, it reminds you of a Formula E street circuit, the amount of jumping that they seem to do over curbs like this, so I wasn't surprised to see Sully get a little bit of air, unable to control the vehicle, and as such, drop off of the pace. So that's going to be a shame for John Sully because he was having a very good run. I think Devon Singh was the catalyst to all of the drama that happened in that area, and there are a lot of drivers who took a lot of risk to make positions. One, Paul Malocas now has JB Massada in front, and Paul Malocas is already +7. Yeah,
there is Malocas then in that ERT machine. Gindi, once again, fastest driver on track. 1:43 there for Johnny Gindi. As we're actually on board with Paul Malocas. Gindi, to let you know, currently in P number 31. So recovery drives, because we have seen in the years previous that those throwaway races, Jake, they can still be important because you have one crash and all of a sudden you're relying on whether or not you charge through the field when you did have a penalty, a poor race.
Yeah, you need to rely on that as Johnny Gindi makes it comfortably past Rob Adams and Andreas Robertson. So Gindi now hitting the pack. He's next got Anthony Catt to be dealing with. Kurt Crum, Miguel Garcia, and in front of that as well is a bit of side-by-side as Jonathan Decuisha looks to go at Kevin Crosswhite, who's already been involved in a bit of misdemeanors here today. It's about now how Johnny Gindi deals with this race, because this is, I think, a longer race. Well, I think this is a 2-stop race that we got here today with a 32-lap distance. I'm not sure they're going to be able to go long enough for 16 laps, because that will take you to about that halfway point of about 30 minutes or so. It's going to be a tough race. It's going to be a difficult race. And I think it's one where you need to make caution work, as a lot of these drivers at the front have done. They've dropped Francois Boulian. It's train of 8 time.
It really is, and there is Boulian right now with the driver of Loffman right behind as they work themselves through. Actually, no, right. I take that back, because It is the driver of Lothman, who is in a train of 3 with Steven Stalls and Turan Turan. Bullion has pulled away to 2.7 seconds ahead in that battle. I want to go and talk about your race leader for a moment. I want to talk about race leader and driver in second place. That is Justin Tipton. The reason why I say that, Leibert's led pretty much all race long. That means that he's burning more fuel, Jake.
It does, but we've seen Justin Tipton run a little bit wide, maybe in a bit of frustration. That could be very detrimental with the 20 incident points that they have here today. It's so easy just to pick up an incident here, an incident there, and looking at the moment when it comes to someone like, for example, Justin Tipton, he's already on 4 incidents through the opening 9 laps. This is a 32-lap event. It's so easy to get up to 20, especially in the middle of the pack. Certain drivers like Paul Malokas, for example, already on 9 incident points through 9 laps.
Yeah, as Enzo Cantor's had an issue. We saw it then on the run out of Boulderberg hairpin. Bit of contact there as he's come back on track in P number 8. But let's now make that a bit lower as Brian Duell's on pit road.
Yeah, Brian Duell makes a jump. Borja Zazo also down. Well, actually, it is Borja Zazo on the lane. Chris Malcolm will look to join. And I think that was down to the contact, Will, that Zazo had with Cantor, because he just steamrolled into Enzo Cantor. Had nowhere to go after Simon Edwards. Had to check up. He went a bit too deep into Boulderberg. And for that, that is a big bit of damage for the championship leader. It's a bigger bit of damage for Duell and Cantor, who both lose the train of 5, which very soon could be a train of 4 if Simon Edwards isn't careful.
Yeah, as is Zazo going to do his pit stop. It's a long one. 16.9 out and away. He will go here today. So let's have a look at your top 5. Let's have a look at your standings actually at the bottom of your screen. Philippe Leibert leads by a third of a second over Brian Lockwood. Jordi Lopez Jr. in P number 4. With Simon Edwards, Brian Duell, Enzo Cantor, and Francois Bullion. They round out your top 8. 9th place is Lothman, and yeah, that was close for Leibert.
Oh, he was all over the place at Villeneuve and then through the Telemann complex. And I think that now that opens up the door. It looks like 2 wide, almost 3 wide. They're all starting to think about eyeing it up. Belly over mind, and nobody makes the move. Good defensive driving there from the driver of Justin Tipton to defend his teammate like that. He just pulled over to the right-hand side, blocked the lane then for Brian Lockwood to attack. Almost IndyCar stuff. And look at Lockwood try and find himself a gap. And Philippe Leibert straight on, down onto the lane, and everybody runs wide. Here comes Jordi Lopez.
Yeah, Lopez there side by side with the driver of Lockwood in towards turn number 1. They will come once again. It's all getting close, all very quickly. Leibert, however, he is on pit road, making that first pit stop for him of the day. Lopez Jr. is past Simon Edwards. He's actually now going to go past Brian Lockwood.
There was contact there as well, Will. They had to be so careful about how close they were going to get. Brian Lockwood gets away with one as he got very squirrely. Suddenly, this gives 0.6 of a second to Justin Tipton. And all of a sudden, Will, I think Leibert has just made a fantastic call to come onto the lane. Yeah, everyone is squabbling for positions around them. As let's have another look on board. That's how close it was. Jordi Lopez Jr. barging his way through. Second time we've seen a barge like that this weekend. Well, at least second time. At least second time. Hello, Mitchell de Jong. How are you doing, buddy? But Justin Tipton now holding that advantage. And the more that they scrap like this, Will, the more they're going to hold themselves up in comparison to Leibert, the more they're actually going to let the likes of Duell and Cantor back into this one, who are pushing as much as they can. They've already let Simon Edwards back through into this one, and Edwards has been a little bit squirrely through turn number 4, as we've seen today. It's about when you pick and choose the right time to come down onto the lane, as Paul Malokas now finds Mick Watson as his next vehicle to try and get past this one to make it plus 10.
Borja Zazo on pit road for the second time already in this race. So he probably sped on the way out of pit road. He's come back in. He's done a penalty, we think, and he is back out and away onto the racetrack as he almost then an unsafe exit out of pit road. And that's one of those things there that if you're just not paying attention, as Lockwood is on pit road himself, it can become very difficult coming out of pit road because of the way and the angle of the blend line.
Yes, and that's very crucial as well because it's a long exit to pit road because you exit pit road, you get on the power, and you have this long looping left-hander that you need to get through as well, which exits right onto the apex of turn number 2. So easy for that one to get very wrong. And for Borjazazo, it's just a compound of errors as now Jordi Lopez Jr. sees Tipton run incredibly wide through Lucien Bianchi as he skips across the gravel. This is the chance that ERT needed here with 2 of their drivers down the order. But no chance for Jordi to try and make that move. He's going to set it up for a better opportunity, or if not, he may decide to undercut as he thinks about trying to find the lane.
Yeah, the driver of Barber did get ahead of Lockwood by almost a second.
Almost, but not quite, I don't think.
Well, 0.999 at the point it came off pit road.
Well, that's about as close as you can get, Will.
Yeah.
I think Brian Lockwood needs a little bit of help right now. He will get that help from whoever decides to come out of pit road. They're not going to be changing the tyres. They're just going to be looking to try and get themselves going forward. If Tipton or Jordi Lopez Jr. pit, I think that they will be very happy to work together to try and close down Barber. The one thing they don't want is Justin Tipton getting ahead once again. Will they go straight on? 1 goes straight on, 2 goes straight on. Jordi Lopez Jr. is going long. He's going for lap 13 as they look to hit the line.
It's an interesting one there by Jordi Lopez Jr. Of course, every lap you do now, it means that your first pit stop will still be as long, but your second one will be shorter. Mello R up 1 place into P number 16. We'll keep an eye out on the pit stops going on. Behind, Steven Stiles is in. You've got Loftman in. Turan all on pit road as we speak. There's Justin Tipton making himself the journey onto his pit stall and getting some repairs done to that car as well. Keep an eye out for Simon Edwards as well, of course, as the driver of Philippe Barber. 13 up to 14, 15, 15.5 then. That was faster than a few people. And Philippe Barber, let's have a look where he's going to be. He's going to be ahead.
Oh, very much ahead, and Tipton's got to be careful side by side, inside line at Observatory Bend, around the outside. Tries Brian Lockwood, he gets the outside line for Canal. He has the line sorted when he gets himself to Lucien Bianchi. So Lockwood's got the jump, but Barber's got the gap. It's now down to how quick Jordi Lopez Jr. is circulating on his own. This has to be a qualifying lap into Boulderberg. Also staying out, Will, I have to say as well, it was both ERT machines that decided to stay out.
Yeah, and Lockwood then loses that place back to Justin Tipton in towards the clean chicane. We go on board then with Brian Lockwood for a moment here on Racebot TV. Sorry about that, we've a couple of audio issues there, but we've been on board of Lockwood and Lopez Jr. is on pit road. Former Locus is on pit road. Lopez Jr. looking. Can this be a good time? It's a long one, 16.5. It is almost impossible for him to have the race lead coming out on pit road. Philippe Barber is going to work himself past indeed. Yes, he is past. You'll see. There in the distance is Philippe Barber, and Lopez Jr. will come out in P number 4 here. It'll be Barber, then Tipton, Lockwood and Lopez Jr. They are your top 4. We're going to step aside for a brief moment here on Racebot TV, on iRacing Live. Take your Racebot TV side by side. We'll be back in a minute.
finish here at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway. Will it be Tim Hogan? It's going to be Christopher DeMeritt at the line.
Don't forget, you can round out your weekend's worth of racing tomorrow night with Club UK and Ireland Monday Night Skippies in support of the Calm Zone, a male mental health charity in the United Kingdom. As the gap between Philippe Labour and Justin Tipton is currently 1.7 seconds. It's not over here, Jake, because over the last couple of laps, Labour has been losing a bit of time.
On that last lap, though, Labour found a tenth of a second on Justin Tipton, did a 1:43.298, and that was his fastest lap of the event so far. And all these drivers are running the fastest laps of the event so far, as Jordi Lopez Jr. runs very, very close to the rear of the driver of Brian Lockwood. But I wonder if Jordi Lopez Jr. has made the wrong call here, Will. I think he should have short-filled on that stop, knowing he was going longer, get the track position, and worry a lot of drivers instead of being stuck in the train like he is.
See, I disagree with that one, because they're still not out of touching distance, and he would have had to have been running by himself using more fuel anyway. Right now, Lopez Jr. is in a good position because he can just sit and cruise and save some fuel.
He could do, Will, but the issue that I find is that this is not as definitive of a race as a two-stop race. In a theory, it's only a stop-and-a-half race, Will, because you can fill up that tank full twice, one that's at the start of the race and then once more, and then you've got to have this short fill of about 5-6 laps come the end of the event. I think that Jordi was playing the fuel-safe game very well. He already got the extra lap that he needed, and I think that if he short-filled that vehicle, looked to put in some fast laps, I think he would have been at least with Philippe Labour challenging Labour, and I think that would have been good enough to really rattle Labour, who is in his perfect element right now, which is running times on his own. But on that last time by, he did lose 0.2 of a second. Yeah,
retirees out of this event today are Anthony Catt, Jonathan Joyschlucker, Antri Quebec Theory, apparently, Jason Stanley, John Solly, and Martin Cruz. So 37 drivers still running in this one. Battle actually going on all the way down in P number 28 there, Jake. As Andreas Robertson in the number 251 car, putting pressure under Rob Adams.
Yes, he is, and Andreas Robertson, one of the older statesmen when it comes to sim racing, and he is not going to be gentlemanly at this stage as he doesn't have a chance to get past here Rob Adams. Adams has made his way through previously, but who's gone through both of them is a certain 104 machine of Borja Zazo on the recovery. You've got Alfredo Malo on the recovery in 26th position. Oh, and if you want to know where Johnny Guindy was, well, he's currently in this scrap for 17th position. Edwin Viorino under pressure for Positive Sim Racing.
Yeah, there is Guindy in the Evolution Racing team car on the exit of the Jackie Ip chicane to start another lap. Past halfway now, as Guindy trying to use the toe over Valerino to put himself closer to the top 15, closer to the top 10. Guindy down to the inside, job complete.
Job complete indeed, and that puts himself up 17th. And the good news is the train keeps on going. Lucas Loyart, Christian Kabanga, and also Devon Singh, who's been involved in an incident already today, heavy over the outside curb through turn number 2. I've seen more powerful vehicles like Pro Mazdas will almost do the most amazing wheelie I think I've ever seen in my life.
Yes, yes, indeed. Lopez Jr. is still there. I think Lopez Jr. is playing the sit and wait game. And having thought about it, though, Barber has pulled out another couple attempts for a second. Lap times.
He has, and there's been contact with Devon Singh through the Klein chicane. That's going to drop in 3 positions as he drops behind Johnny Guindy, and I think maybe Edwin Viorino might get a chance into Villeneuve. He was all out of shape, Will, and then through came Kabanga, and in the end, 2 into 1. Well, this ain't any old Spice Girls song. That just doesn't work.
Yeah, let's have a look at the replay then. On board with Devon Singh. Oh, the number 122 car then just got loose. That's Christian Kabanga on the exit, and Devon Singh had to pay the penalty for that one. 1, 2, 3 positions lost, as well as some damage to that front wing.
Yep, and that's not going to be ideal in the amount he's lost. I wonder if he's going to be losing a bit more. Guindy to the inside of Loyart, and he'll get 1. Thought about 2 as well. Getting a bit greedy there was Guindy as he tried to get past Christian Kabanga. But just like that, a little bit of yellow helmet syndrome coming into play, Will, because he's just got through 3 vehicles in the space of about a lap and a little bit. And here comes the 4th on Kabanga, down to the inside of turn number 1. Johnny Guindy. Oh, it's not over yet, though. Kabanga's going to come back in inside for the next 3 corners.
Yep. So Guindy can't quite do it. Now in 15th place. However, number 122, Christian Kabanga, has got damage, and that is because of the contact with Devon Singh a couple of laps ago. Guindy now inside line. Got the move score complete. Up into P number 14. However, his next victim will be the driver of Mick Watson. And Brian Lockwood is just looking slow there. He's been going side by side with Jordi Lopez Jr. up into 3rd.
Yeah, Jordi Lopez Jr. making that one look pretty comfortable. And that was all thanks to Jordi boxing in with Justin Tipton. Decided, you know what? I've got just about enough of a nose, Will, to send it down the inside. Caught on the outside track, nowhere to go on that inside line. And in the end, it was just a pinch for Lockwood, just being out of position and getting caught out there, almost sleeping on the job a little bit.
Yeah, as behind, Francois Boulien, Brian Duell remain in their battle for P number 6. Here's the thing here, Jake. The last pit stop window is now already open. So some drivers can consider to come in early if they feel they're being held up in traffic, although others will try and wait as long as possible to get it done to the end.
Yeah, most drivers would prefer to get it done to the end, get that warning in from their spotter going, yeah, you got 5 laps of fuel left, you got 2 laps of fuel left, come down in, we'll splash and dash you. It's a very difficult situation because you want to save as much as you can. Someone like Simon Edwards would love to jump, would love to have the opportunity to go now or next lap. Someone like Brian Duell, for example, will be hoping that Simon Edwards stays out for the entirety of the race because Duell wants to save as much fuel as he can so that he can take that litre less when it comes to the final fuel stop.
Yeah, and it was as if I was predicting the future because the fact that we have now got on pit road Edwin Valerino and Paul Malocas. Valerino will do his pit stall. Malocas has already done his 14.5 seconds in the box. And Sindre Setsos is also on pit road in that number 139 machine. Not quite time for Halloween there, Sindre, but I like the helmet.
Yeah, it reminds you of, oh, what's that movie?
Nightmare.
I can't remember it, Will. It's the animated one. Yes, I believe so. I believe that's the one. But Setsos away. He'll be behind John Morgan and Dom Parks and potentially nobody else at this stage. So Setsos, not the drive that I thought he'd be having, Will, but it is to be expected that drivers moving from closed wheel to open wheel naturally do tend to have a bit of drop-off.
Yes, I agree. So just having a look then at Valerino after he came out of pit road. There's a blend line we talked about a little bit earlier on. Gap up between Barber and Lopez Jr. up now to 2.8 seconds. But one of the things we haven't yet talked about here, Jake, is the pit stop times. It's 13.8 for Philippe Barber, 16.5 for Lopez Jr., 15.5 for Tipton. So actually, Leiber's final stop might be longer than the guys around him.
It could be, because that could have been a short fill. He's been wanting to build that gap. He had about 1.4 seconds coming out of the lane to Justin Tipton. That gap now up at 3 seconds. I think this is going to be very nip and tuck. Leiber's been working hard on this one to try and make things happen if he's been trying to save that bit more fuel in the opening stages, but he's had no opportunities to do so. Has led almost every single lap of this one. Jordi Lopez Jr. now suddenly looks like he's got a tail between his legs, because he's seeing Justin Tipton behind drop off 0.4 of a second. Very aggressive on the brakes goes Tipton into the Villeneuve chicane through to Lehman. Compromises the run here through the third part, which means that fourth part is also going to be slower. It allows Brian Lockwood maybe a chance to close back in. This is where I think Jordi Lopez Jr. is doing a good job, because he's forcing Justin Tipton to go quicker, and now you're starting to see the ragged edges of Tipton's game coming into play.
Yeah, and Lopez Jr. has already closed that gap back below, or temporarily at least back below 3 seconds. But there is Philippe Leiber. He stays out on track then. We got ourselves 10 laps to go. Not this time by even. Next time by. 10 laps into a stint now for Philippe Leiber. So he clearly can come in any point he wants from now on. Your top 8, bottom of your screen. Leiber from Lopez Jr., from Tipton, Lockwood, Edwards, Duell, Bullion, and Cantor. That is the story right now, and I will say as well, around them, you still got the Duell and Bullion battle that's still going on. You've got Devon Singh trying to recover. I say that, he gets all forms of squirty as he comes through. Turn, the final corner there on track in number 15 car, and Kabanga's actually on pit road.
Yeah, Christian Kabanga's in. We've also seen Brian Lockwood through on Justin Tipton into turn number 1. So Loyart in, Kabanga in, Tuan Tran is in. So is Andrea Iman also in. So they're looking to make their last stops. Here comes Paul Malocas then, who wants to clear the entirety of this train and should do pretty comfortably, actually, heading through the final chicane of Jackie Ickx. So I think Paul Malocas here is going to be safe in comparison to all of these drivers. And guess what, Will? He certainly is, and he is on a charge.
He is, and he has been doing a fantastic race here today as the driver of Paul Malocas. So we can see him out on track. And let's show you the movers and shakers in this event. Of course, we are currently entering the middle of a pit stop window. We have had some big movers. Lucas Loyart, by the way, we haven't talked about him, but he's up 12 here today as well. You've got yourselves the driver of Paul Malocas, who we're looking at right now in P, well, he's showing him as P number 24. That graphic's not quite right at the moment. He's actually now in P20.
And that's Jordi Lopez Jr. all out of shape at Jackie Ickx, and through goes Brian Lockwood into second as the race leader pits.
So Leiber is on pit road. Let's have a look then. A replay. Jordi Lopez Jr. That's the second time I saw a driver do that in the last minute. That part of the racetrack with the marbles is really affecting the grip on these cars down at Jackie Ickx.
And that's the second time in a row that's happened when Philippe Leiber has come down onto the lane. It's almost as if there's a little oil slick there or something that you could certainly put down, and I wouldn't put it past it. But you saw Justin Tipton try and get aggressive. He couldn't do it. You saw Brian Lockwood make his way through, and that was crucial. Now here comes Jordi Lopez Jr. thinking of the Klein chicane. I think he's waiting for Villeneuve and Telemann to make an opportunity. Very aggressive line taken there by Brian Lockwood. He gains 2/10 for it.
He does, as we're looking then on board with Jordi Lopez Jr. right now. Currently 9 laps into a run, and we've got to remember as well, he has got those that 1 lap over Tipton, 2 laps over Lockwood, 3 laps over Leiber in terms of fuel. So this could come back to Jordi Lopez Jr., but it's a case now of be patient over the next couple of laps and don't throw it away. Always the key thing. Mick Watson, by the way, in a battle with Hans Hoyer. That is for P14.
Hans Hoyer wants to keep position right now, and Well, Hoyer is somewhat... Well, actually, I don't think it's even for P14 right now because I've seen Mick Watson in on the lane, so he's just come out with Hans Hoyer. He'll look down to the inside, and more crucially enough, it's Paul Malokas just behind he's got to worry about. Doesn't make the move, but now all of a sudden, there's the hungry shark looking for an opportunity. To the outside, he may think here, heading towards that next corner of what is going to be the Villeneuve chicane. He gets himself the line, he gets himself the lunge, and I think he's clear of it just about enough. Beautifully done, and now Guindy's on the scene.
Yeah, he is. So Johnny Guindy now in P number 17. He has done his final pit stop of the day as well. The gap between himself and Mick Watson is currently classified as about a quarter of a second. Barber, by the way, rejoined in clean air, as now Duell's on pit road, Bullien's on pit road. Bullien has basically been in that battle of prime Duell since the drop of the green flag here today.
He has, as also that came in was Lockwood and Lopez Jr., and they have all lost out in the long run. So that is crucial for Barber. He has built that gap back up once more. The question becomes, does he have enough to end it? Tipton right now is the only driver staying out, only driver looking to make it home to the end. And I have to say, I am surprised with just how long those two drivers, Lockwood and the driver of Jordi Lopez Jr., took on the lane.
Yeah, it was a while. 14.1 for Lopez Jr. We knew that one. It was 12 seconds for Brian Lockwood. Let's go on board then with the driver of Justin Tipton and see, will he go straight on? I expect him to do so. And he does.
And he does. Left-hander, right-hander then that marks pit road, and he gets right down on that limiter, or just slows it down to make it work, as he had just shaved off a few kilometers an hour there, maybe to try and stop a slowdown of sorts as he goes through this very narrow and winding pit road. You have to sort of weave about. It's almost like doing a slalom here in a ski course as he looks to try and find his box. He'll be one of the last boxes, if not the last box, when it comes down onto that lane. And I have no doubts that he's not going to get the race lead. The question is now, second or third?
Fourth.
Oh, hello.
Yeah, I've got a feeling that extra lap and the fact that Lockwood and Lopez Jr. came in at the same time could well have been an issue. Actually, no, I take that back. Upon further reflection, he's coming out of pit road. It looks like it could be very close with Jordi Lopez Jr. And they are going to be close. It is going to be side by side. And Tipton is down into fourth. It sounds like I do know something once in a while, Jake.
Yes, it's the Jake Sperry line. Fantastic. And I think that Justin Tipton knew exactly that he needed to come down, cover off the move, but just didn't have enough to really respond. He's got Jordi Lopez Jr. with him. That's the crucial part. They've got to work together to get to Brian Lockwood. Anything short of that will, and they are in a lot of trouble as Alfredo Mallow looks to make the move on Simon Edwards. I don't think Mallow's pitted, though.
He has not. No, he's currently in lap number 11 of a stint here on Sunday night prime time. It is the 2K World Cup presented by DES Simulation. We're down to 7 laps to go, and while the stint then for Mallow is 11 so far, he should be in the next 2 laps maximum, and he will fall probably back down to around 17th, 18th.
And I just say that Brian Duell and Francois Boulian have been on the lane for an absurdly long time, Will.
You're right. I thought I might have saw a crash. Well, I saw my timing screen. They all fell down. So I don't know if they came together or not. We need to get a better camera angle. But, yeah, it looks as though they had contact.
It does. I've been looking backwards and backwards and more backwards to see exactly what's happened. Boulian's been on the lane an incredibly long amount of time, and I don't have anything to say other than he's just been on that lane, and Duell came out and back in.
Yes. So something's gone wrong then for those 2 drivers. Justin Tipton on lap number, one lap score complete on this stint right now. And this will help a number of drivers. The fact that will push them into the top 10. Dindy, for example, knocking on the door of a top 10. In fact, now he is in the top 10 because Mano R is on pit road.
And that's perfect for Guindy, who has been working so hard to get back into this race from the back of the field, inside the top 10. I just wonder where he'd be if it wasn't for something else. Now, Yus Yonk looks very out of sync here compared to the ERT train. There goes one, and suddenly enough, Guindy thinks of the inside. Oh, hello, I'm trying to. I'm getting a bit squirrely. 2 shoes I'm needing, but Yus Yonk's putting up a fight.
He is. There's a pit stop time for Guindy like last time by. It was 13.4. Will Guindy be able to accelerate? Outbrake? No, he won't. He'll have to wait then from after the run from the clean corner down through, but in towards Villeneuve even. Doing so right now, taking the inside line. Again, will go Guindy. And they make a little bit of contact there. That will actually annoy the number 136 car. Because that was very, very close.
That was aggressive, Will, from the driver, Johnny Guindy. He did not want to lose any more time. Instantly, Mick Watson goes through, because I think Yus Yonk has a slow down penalty. Big lunge there from Mick Watson as well. Guindy could not afford to lose more time, and I think that struggle was very much air apparent as he looks to try and find that pace. He's down 13 kilometers an hour on the run to Jackie X as Mick Watson thinks about the move and can't quite make it. So ultimately, Johnny Guindy, he got caught in the wrong area of the track, Will, couldn't make a decisive move, and as such, he had to rely on a bit of the chrome horn.
Yeah, but the thing is about that, he's already been in trouble this Druids, and here comes Mick Watson then down to the inside and will make that pass scored complete in towards turn number 1. And for Johnny Guindy, that is the sort of thing that could ruin his championship. One moment of blind rage on track. I mean, it's not the worst one we've seen this weekend, but you do that and you potentially are starting from the back of the field in another race.
Well, perennially, you remember Enzo Cantor had a stretch where he was at the back of the field for almost an entire season, and that one lasted a year. So I don't know with Johnny Guindy in this situation. Yes, he has to be aggressive. Yes, he's thinking about a championship. But if your eyes are bigger than your mouth, the cake is just going to upset your stomach. Yeah,
there is Guindy. T number 10, though, remains for him. I was thinking back for a moment, maybe he was going to allow Yus Yonk back. But then I also thought about another thing. Maybe he needs to save a bit of fuel. And he was hoping that he can keep up with Malocus. And now he can't. He needs to use Mick Watson to do so.
And here's a bigger issue, Will. He's on 19 incident points.
And the limit is 20.
Exactly. And that's going to mean that any wrong move, any corner cut between now and the end of this event, Guindy could be out of this one. And there are more drivers who are in trouble. Tipton, for example, is on 16. That is any major contact, and his day is done. Enzo Cantor as well is up on 18 incident points. He's in a lot of trouble on his own too. So a lot of positions are not decided at the late stage of this event because drivers now need to start thinking, how safe can I be?
Yeah, 5 to go then here in a longer version of the 2K World Cup races. Basically, the race itself is going to be an hour long compared to 45 minutes. It's changed the strategy around a little bit, not too much. Guindy Watson remains at 0.2 of a second. Tipton Lopez Jr. remains at 0.2 of a second. Tran right now having a look versus the number 207 on Michael Dalaval. And I've got a feeling that Tran's trying to close up. A lot of cars in this mid-pack, as we expected them to, Jay, does actually have quite a bit of damage in that car, and actually a turn it around. That Dalaval is ahead of Tran. Good showing, though, by Dalaval in P number 12.
Yeah, Michael Dalaval has been very clean and very consistent as he's moved up a massive 21 positions in this event. Tran can't afford to get involved in any of these sorts of things. He's on 18 incidents right now as Christian Kabanga looks to try and make his way through for position 13. The lucky men looking to make positions, but Tran, I have a feeling he's just spun his wheels here today. He hasn't done too much wrong, but he hasn't done too much right either.
Yeah, we've just had Kurt Crum go side by side for about half a minute with the number 134 of Miguel Garcia Sanchez. And what that's now done is it's allowed the driver Lucas Loyart to close back up. And this is the battle going on in P number 16, 17 with 4 to go.
Yes, and the bombshell machine of Kurt Crum needs to think about how he gets past Miguel Garcia because he has lost that position. And now Lucas Loyart will be sensing a stage of weakness. They can't afford to battle too much, though. They've got some of the fastest drivers in the world behind them. The next 3 drivers, get this, Will. It's not often you say this 18th, 19th, 20th. Sindre Setsource, Alfredo Malo, Borja Zazo. Beat that for us 18th, 19th, 20th.
And Malo and Zazo have both done 3 pit stops here today. Both had issues in their motor races, but again have recovered. Setsource, he's just had a tough weekend, is what I'm going to put that one down to. They're the main battles that are going on track as we're coming up to about 3.5 laps to go. Tipton versus Lopez Jr. Well, it's quite clear at this stage that Lopez Jr. and Tipton are not going to catch up to the rear of Brian Lockwood, and certainly not up to the rear of Philippe Labeur. At what point does Tipton say, you know what, I know I've got a car behind with Simon Edwards, but let's fight for P3 in the podium spots?
They've got to fight cleanly, Will. That's the only issue they've got. They've got to fight cleanly, and here's the chance, because now they're side by side here. The pair of them, Lopez Jr. and also the driver of what is going to be that of Justin Tipton, know they are in the limit. They know behind Simon Edwards has had a very clean race here and can fight and has been going half a second a lap quicker. So now Simon Edwards is looking to charge for a podium right now. Looks at turn number 1, Erst, the first corner. Then you're looking for turn number 2 of Observatory Bend through to Canal, through to Lucien Bianchi, of course, the uncle of the late, great Jules Bianchi, sorry, I should say. There we go. I'm going to get slapped on the wrist for that one. But you're seeing right now how Simon Edwards, he's now stuck in the draft train. Needs a perfect run here on Justin Tipton. Tipton gets a bit of a slide, and again Simon Edwards taking 2 stabs at the wheel. Big run off of the exit, almost contact. Yeah,
and he also set the fastest lap of the day last time around. So this is Simon Edwards right now, who is charging, and he's got himself past Justin Tipton. Jordi Lopez Jr. is the one next as they work themselves then. Turn number 6 on track. 2.5 laps to go. Simon Edwards can smell a podium. The number 186 machine of Jordi Lopez Jr. is just ahead and is very close on the incident limit. And now it's a case of Simon Edwards of when does he try and go for it. The answer might well be now, or is he going to wait as they come through Boulderberg corner now towards Jock and Rint, that little flick to the left, then settle the car down as you come towards Jackie X, and defensive line being taken by Jordi Lopez Jr. Gonna make Simon Edwards go round it the long way, and he's not gonna get through just yet, but that's a big slide by the driver of Jordi Lopez Jr.
He's out.
As they come to 2 to go in Guindy, it's all over for him.
It is all over for him, Will. I've just seen that crop up, and that is incident limit 20 is hit, and that is a massive, massive shame. He was over the curb, and that pretty much ends it. But Simon Edwards now on the inside for turn number 2 of Observatory. He gets the run. Up and under attempt from Jordi Lopez Jr., though. He's not giving this one up without a fight with 2 to go. He's got the inside line now for Lucien Bianchi. He heads himself on that inside line, and Edwards now trying to open up and under of his own as he looks for the run to Klein. And look at this. He has the run. He goes the long way round like Charlie Borman.
Yeah, so here we'll go then. Here is Simon Edwards as he looks himself to the outside, and this time they're not going to get, they almost made contact, and that was almost very dangerous there for Lopez Jr. because of the way the no-fault incident system works on iRacing. Simon Edwards could have attacked the corner. He did attack the corner. If he slid up then into Lopez Jr., it would have ended Lopez Jr.'s race. It will come down to the final lap here, and Tipton is not out of this yet. As you can see, Guindy, he's falling down on the timing screens now towards Boulderberg corner for the second to last time. Just to let you know, Labeur is about to start his final lap here. Brian Lockwood is in second place. Will Edwards have one more stab at the cherry, or is he given up now? The white flag will come out here. One more lap to go in round number 8 of the 2K World Cup, presented by DES Simulation. And Edwards gets a good run on the exit of Jackie Ick's corner. They'll come down in towards turn number 1. And Lopez Jr. almost to the wall then, forcing Edwards to go around the long way in towards turn number 1. And Edwards does push wide, but he's going to get a good run on the exit of that first corner. And now into 2. They work themselves for the final time. It gets close again. Now Lopez Jr. has got to hold the outside line through turn number 3, not cut off Edwards, which is what he almost did there, as they now come down into 4. Lucien Bianchi corner, and a slide, and a wiggle there by Simon Edwards. That one might almost end it for him, because now Tipton was thinking about it. He stays in line, but now Edwards has one more shot over Lopez Jr. This has been a fantastic defensive drive over Jordi Lopez Jr. over the last 2 and a bit laps here to really try and say this podium is mine. Philippe Leber has got himself now just a handful of corners to go. There you can see him, Lockwood in 2nd place, 3rd place, Jordi Lopez Jr., but it's not over yet as they now come through in toward Barber corner, turn number 8 for what will be the final time in this event. And no run up the inside that time by Simon Edwards, but he might try and do something on the run through the final corner. Philippe Leber is going to work himself out the final corner. He will claim victory here today. Lockwood will come home in 2nd place. Lopez Jr. is almost going to hold off the driver of Simon Edwards. They come then towards the start-finish line. It is going to be very close, but it will be Lopez Jr. who will come home in P number 3. What a defensive drive by him in those last few laps. And Edwards will come home 4th, Tipton in 5th. Wow.
They say that pace is only there for a certain amount of time, but class is most certainly permanent, Will. And Jordi Lopez Jr., in the circumstances that he had to fight for that podium, has proven that he is world class when it comes to the way that he drives. Not much more you can say to argue against that. That was just some stunning driving up towards the end of that one, because he knew one wrong move and that was over. And at turn 4, Will, that so very nearly was.
Indeed, so let's have a look at your final race results then here from Zolder. Philippe Leber wins out by 3.3 seconds over Brian Lockwood to claim victory. Jordi Lopez Jr. in 3rd place, Simon Edwards in 4th, and what a fantastic run to the line it was. Less than 1/10 of a second separating them. Only 2/10 further back to Justin Tipton in 5th, Stephen Stoyles in 6th place, Enzo Cantor 7th, Paul Malokas in 8th, Mick Watson in 9th, and Hugh Stronk rounds out your top 10. Further back, P number 11 for Michael Dalla Christian Kabanga in P number 12, Tran 13th, Borges Arzo in 14th, Sindre Setsors in 15th position, and then you've got yourself Miguel Garcia Sanchez, Alfredo Malo, Edwin Valerino, Andrea Amon, and Andreas Robertson, rounding out your top 20. Remainder of the results up on your screen. It was 24 drivers that came home on the lead lap here today. Everyone inside your top 30 finishing within 1 lap of your leader, so 1 lap behind. And then you've got yourself Johnny Gundy. He was close to a fantastic run, but ends up going over the incident point limit. And then are your retirees behind. 42 drivers took on Zolder, but we've got a winner, and it's Philippe Leber, and he'll be here to talk to us in a couple of moments' time on RaceSpot TV and on iRacing Live. Welcome back. Post-race coverage here from the Skip Barber 2K World Cup presented by DES Simulation. And don't forget, tomorrow, Monday Night Skippies, live here on RaceSpot TV and on iRacing Live. Round out your motor racing week. Join Rachel Whiteford as well as Connery Maddock, Linus Brodstrom for that one here again at Zolder Circuit. Let's get into interviews then. Your top 10 is up on your screen. Philippe Barber. It almost looked as though it was easy after the first pit stop.
No, it wasn't easy. I had to dig very deep to keep Justin and the others behind, because Justin was extremely quick. You could see that his qualifying time was alien, really. I had no idea how he did that. So I had to go very deep, and for some reason my pit stop was very good, and so I came out 2 seconds ahead or 3 seconds ahead of Brian, and after that it was more trying to pace myself, not make any mistakes.
Well, it's a tough track around here at Zolder, and it's one where literally it's very easy to put a foot wrong and harm your motor race. How were the curbs here today?
Horrible, as usual. Those curbs they should ban them, because they can destroy your car. If you hit them in the wrong angle, your suspension is just broken. So I don't really like this track, but I'm usually not quick, so I'm a little surprised that I won, to be honest.
What you do, however, have is a random track the next round of the championship. Second time this season. Is the formula as confusing as it was last time?
Confusing? In what way?
In the way you worked out what the track was. I almost understood it, I promise.
Well, it's very easy. It's yeah, well, it doesn't really matter as long as it's random, right?
Yeah. Before we let you go, who do you want to give a shout out to, Philippe?
Yeah, I want to give a shout out to Justin for his awesome qualifying lap and his pace. It's his first pole, so he really deserved it. Too bad he couldn't get a win, but it'll come soon, I'm sure.
Philippe Barber coming home with a race victory here today. Brian Lockwood, second place. Goodbye with Jake.
Brian, it was a race where you had to work hard for every single inch of the circuit, and ultimately it came down to that final stop. Were you able to save fuel a little bit better maybe than what Jordi Lopez Jr. was able to manage?
I guess so. I didn't expect to have such a gap after the second stop, but I managed to make it out and keep the gap, so I'm happy with second.
Let's talk about the opening stages as well, because you were in third position for the majority of this race. You had Justin Tipton in front playing guard for Philippe Barber. Did you feel that at any point you had an opportunity to make that move, and would you have gone for that move in the early stages to try and break the TT Racing stranglehold at the front?
Well, actually, I was trying to toward the end of that first stint, but once Philippe made his pit stop, we all got a little bit crossed up, and Jordi got alongside me. We made contact, and I had damage, so I was forced to pit early. That kind of shoehorned me into the strategy that I didn't want, but I got lucky and managed to keep second.
Well, you get lucky. It's a random track coming up next, and from what we've seen of you, a random track may be your weakness in terms of practice and preparation?
Yeah, well, I have to say I am excited for it, because the last one was a lot of fun, but I definitely had a poor result last time, so I think it'll depend on the track.
Well, it will depend on the track, but before we let you go, any shout-outs to sponsors?
Shout out to Justin for his qualifying lap, and shout out to Racecraft Engineering. Devin Singh had a rough race, but
I had a rough race. It's sometimes the way it doesn't want to go, but for you yourself, almost a perfect amount of points in the board, or in the book, sorry. Brian Lockwood in position number 2. Will, who have you found?
We've got rapid fire interview time going on right now. 4th place, Simon Edwards. Your race here today, it was very close in the final couple of laps, but you almost learned a masterclass in defensive driving ahead of you.
Yeah. It was my first time doing a pit stop race, believe it or not. I've been here since 2008. I think that's the first time I've ever done a pit stop race. So I was a bit immature about getting that right, but I managed to catch them back up, and then, like you say, I just couldn't get past him. But me and Geordie have had a good few races in the members as well, so that's we know each other a bit.
And of course, you're back here for Monday Night Skippies tomorrow.
Yeah, I've had a practice now, so yeah, I'll come back tomorrow.
Okay, catch up on Racespot TV and on iRacing Live. Justin Tipton, P number 5. Great qualifying. Where did it all go wrong in the race?
Well, I accidentally cut the chicane going in for the pit stop. And really, it just came down to we fought too much. We didn't have the pace to catch up Philippe if we were going to fight. And then at the end of the race, I didn't have enough incident points to fight. And I was just afraid that if I went after Geordie and we touched wheels, I'd disappear. So I was happy with P5. I think I could have gotten P3, but I just went off track too many times early in the race.
Next time out, random track. You seem to like those types of races. Are you looking for a particular one?
Oh man, one that I know. I think I know about 30% of the random tracks, and I've gotten lucky so far. The other 70%, I don't expect to do well at.
Well, Justin Tipton then coming home, P number 5. Enzo Cantor, P number 7. Your race here today didn't go too badly, but spent a lot of it running in no man's land.
Yeah, you said right. I was in a no man's land, and so I was sure that I was not on the broadcast too, because I was in a no man's land. But yeah, before starting the interview, I was thinking about talking about the fact simply I wasn't able to find my pace. Because I simply lost every lap, sometimes with the car in front of me on the car that was following me. I wasn't able to understand what happened. Simply I was saying to me that I wasn't good today, but looking at the replay, I don't want to try excuses, but looking at the replay, I saw a little problem with my potentiometer at the throttle pedal, because during most brakes the throttle remained a little bit open, 5-10%, and sometimes yes, sometimes not. So I was sometimes I was wide in the corner, sometimes I was short. I didn't understand what was happening, and this was the reason. So yeah, it could be better, but I'm happy for this 7th place, because I was at 19 incident in before the last 5 laps. So with these damned chicanes, my race could finish before the finish line. So I'm happy. And finally, only one thing I want to say, really congratulations to Philippe, because I looked at his lap, and he was a hammer. If you can see his last 5 laps, incredible. It was a machine, 0.6, 0.6, 0.6, 0.6, 0.6. In this track is almost impossible. So very congratulations to Phil. He really deserved this victory.
Thank you, Enzo Cantor, coming home today, P number 7. Want to give a quick shout out to the guys that get it done for us here on Racespot TV. Isvan Balau, TrackCam22.com, Andy Werner, and One Design. Simon Grossman, Aptioneer.in, Nick Thisson, Racespot TV, live timing and scoring. Jake, final thoughts.
Fantastic racing. I thought we saw the dawn of a new great Skippy driver. I thought we saw some very good Skippy action and a random track once again. We all know you throw it in the dice, you don't know how it's going to work out for you. It will be about who has the overall skill over those who have to work for practice. I do think, though, random races do suit a certain type of driver.
They do indeed. And of course, you can catch that here in a couple of weeks' time on Racespot TV and on iRacing Live. That guy is Shakespeare. I'm Will Vincent. Title sponsor of this series, DES Simulation. This has been round number 8 of the Skip Barber 2K World Cup from Zolder Circuit. And we'll talk to you all next time. Goodbye.